live.
All right, we are live. Week 3, Math 2. Okay. Some of this stuff we've already done, except for the last part, which we will cover a little bit in more in depth. But the first part I think we've done already, and most of you have already handled this concept, but we're going to review it. This week, make sure you do all 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I know we didn't have school Monday, but do that assignment because most of these assignments are fairly easy and they're pretty redundant. So on the Monday assignment, they're going to say graph from 2 points. So they're giving you 2 points, 3, 4, 2, -1. Okay? Now, remember, this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. And the formula that we're using is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be -1 minus 4. -1 minus 4 gives us -5. Okay? Then we have 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3. So I have -5 over -1. A negative and a negative is a positive. So our slope on that one would be 5 over 1, or you could just write 5. Okay? So m is always slope, and that's 5 over 1. Another example of this is I have 0.76, -4, 1. My y2 is 1. My y1 is 6. 1 minus 6 is -5. Then I have -4 minus 7, minus 4 minus 7 gives me a -11. So therefore, once again, I have a negative and a negative. It's 5 over 11. Okay? That's what you're doing on those assignments. Okay? You're just using that formula. And the formula you want to write down is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then keep your positives and your negatives straight. Okay? That's on the first worksheet. Now, remember on our slope equation, y equals mx plus b. On the worksheet A, it says find the slope in the equation. So any number that's in front of the x is the slope. So I have y equals 2x plus 6. The number in front of the x is 2, so my slope is 2. In this one, I have y equals -1/4 x plus 7. My slope is -1/4. Okay? Some people will get confused on some of this. Here it is, y equals -4 plus x, or -4x plus 7. This is my slope. Now, if there's no number in front of the x, that means it's a 1. Okay? So, y equals x plus 6. You consider this a 1 in front, so therefore your slope is 1. Okay? Now, that's on the first worksheet. Most of those are going to be pretty easy, and you're just picking a number in front of the x. Now, if they give you a number like this over here, 3 equals 2x plus 6. Now we have to solve for x. Okay? So, the first thing I have to do is divide both sides by whatever number this is. So this is a 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 over 3 is x, and 6 over 3. You can keep it in the fraction form. You don't have to reduce it if you don't want to. So after I divide this by 3, I have y equals 2/3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I find the number that's in front of the x, and that's my slope. Therefore, 2/3 is my slope. Now I have another example of that. -4 equals 8x plus 12. I divide everything by -4. -4 divided by -4 gives me my y. 8 divided by -4 gives me -2x. And 12 divided by -4 gives me -3. So the number in front of my x is -2, so my slope is -2. Okay? Basically, that's all you're doing is figuring out your slope on that one. Okay? And this should say -2, not -4, because 8 divided by -4 is 2. So we just set up the equation every time. y equals mx plus b. Once again, it's a number always in front of the x. And if it's a 2, and I have x plus 6, divide everything by 2, right? That gives me my y now equals x over 2 is 1/2 x plus 3. The number in front of the x is 1/2. So my slope is 1/2. And we've done this before. We did this right about a week before you started leaving. But I wanted to review this one more time before we got into some of the other stuff. Okay? Now, on page 122, this is going to be a little bit more difficult because they make it pretty confusing on the assignment. But I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? They give you a point C. Okay? First thing you have to do is you have to graph the first 10 out. Okay, problems 1 through 10, you got to graph out, and you can just draw your graph like I do here. So they give you -1, -2. Okay, you plot that point out. -1, -2. You've got that point plotted out. Okay, now they give me a slope of -2. And the best thing to do is whatever they do, if they don't give you a fraction here, put a 1 underneath it. Okay? Put a 1 underneath it. Okay? So now my slope is -2 over 1. Because now it's going to tell you how far to move. Okay? So the first part is the y, and then the bottom part is the x. So I'm moving -2 down, 1, 2. From my point C, I'm moving down, because this is my slope, -2, and then my 1 is positive. I'm moving 1 over. So then I plot this point, and then I draw my dotted line through the slope. Okay? It looks harder than what it really is, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. So, they give me a point. This is point Q, 1, -1. So I plot that. 1, -1. This is my point. Okay, that's the first thing is you plot this point on your graph. Okay, then you put a 1 over here, and I have 5 over 1. So remember, your y is on top, your x is on bottom. So that means I'm going to move up 5 from this spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to move over 1. So this is my new spot right here. And then this will be my slope. This is where I draw my dotted line. Okay? It's basically rise over run. You're just writing that out. So one more example. T, they give me points 4 and 3. So I go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 3. I plot that point out. That's my plot point T. Now, my slope was -2, so I put a 1 underneath it. So remember, it's y over x. So the negative means I go down. I go down 1, 2, and I go over 1. Okay? Negative means you go down. Positive means you go up. So negative means you go down. Positive means you go up. As far as the x, the positive means you go this way to the right. The negative means you go to the left. So I have -2 over 1. So I have to go down 2, 1, 2, and over 1. That's my plotted line. Okay, it's just rise over run. Now the bottom part, they're going to give you, remember, your equation is always y equals mx plus b. Okay? Now for point L, the slope is 1 and the points are 2 and 3. Okay? So now I just put these numbers in my equation. My slope is 1, that goes here. My x is 2, that goes here. And my y is 3. We don't know what b is. It says to write the equation, but all I want you to do is solve for b. Okay? So, all I do is 1 times 2 is 2. Now I have a one-step equation. 3 equals 2 plus b. How do I get rid of that 2? I subtract it. That means 1 equals b, then you're done. I'm changing that part of the assignment. You just have to solve for b. Okay? So another example. Line R. The slope is 3. The x is negative 2. The y is 2. Okay? So the x is negative 6. The slope is 3. And the y is 2. So 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. So now I have 2 equals negative 18 plus b. How do I get rid of that negative 18? Add it. So therefore, 20 equals my b. It's basically just a one-step equation when you get to that point. Okay? So you're just using these numbers and putting them in this equation. Y equals mx plus b. This is where your x goes, this is where your y goes, and this is where your slope goes. And then you're just solving for this b every time. So you just write out the equation. Okay? Have any questions or any comments, let me know. Email me or give me a call. All right. We'll see you next 2 weeks for math.
Math.